Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate for you guys the equivalence values 10N program. So everything on this program, you don't need any kind of stimuli to run. It's all scripted for you. The only thing you have to pay attention to is which ones are train questions and which ones are test questions. So that'll be pretty simple. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a few minutes. So you should get this emailed to you to be able to follow along. Yours will be the same as mine. And we're just going to demonstrate kind of how to go about asking these questions and what types of maybe prompts to use. So first we're going to start and we're going to go, we're going to use stimulus column A here, and we're going to go ask questions from A and get answers from the B column. This will be a training set. So what we're going to do is for the first line across, so you see the numbers down here, 1 through 5, you have 3 different sets. And so we're gonna just start at number 1 here, and I'm gonna ask Aiden. He's gonna kind of demonstrate for you guys like how we would go about answering some of these questions. So Gemma will probably not know these right off the bat. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of prompt the answer. You don't have to sound like a robot when you do it. We kind of do it a certain way at the clinic, but as you do it at home, really, I think the key to doing this is just letting Gemma understand kind of why the answer is what it is, kind of something that sticks in the back of her mind of why something is a value or like why an action is important, so that she can remember it when you ask the question again later on. So, and Gemma's pretty quick about getting these. She actually has this program that she's run before. However, I did different stimuli for this. So she's going to learn some new ones here. So first of all, it has a script. So if you look in here, the instructions for caregivers, I've actually made you kind of a little cheat sheet in a Word document, so where you can kind of follow steps instead of looking at this kind of confusing piece of paper. But under here, it will tell you the script that you're going to follow. So this is actually under the train A to B. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask the prompt, which is what will happen if you, and then we're going to fill in the blank with numbers 1 through 5 in column A. So first things first, I'm going to ask, all right, Aiden, what will happen if you play with your sister? So Aiden doesn't know, he's never had this question before, as Gemma might not know either. She also might give another answer like, I have fun. And just because that answer isn't necessarily wrong, we're still going to go ahead and correct her and use the script that we've made, because the importance is that you're just kind of training these responses. Even if there's kind of more than one correct answer, we're kind of just saying if we can give her these answers and she can kind of go back and forth in relating these answers when you kind of change up the way you're asking the question. So I ask him, what will happen if you play with your sister? And he says, I don't know. So right off the bat, since this is a verbal program, what you can do with Gemma is just say, well, if you play with your sister, you're going to make her happy. Say, make her happy. Good job, Aiden. That's right. And then I might go on to discuss, you know, like in the situation with Gemma, you might, you know, go on to discuss, hey, you know, it does make your sister really happy when you play with her. And what kind of games do you guys like to play? So on and so forth. So then we'll go on down to line 2. And I'll again ask the prompt. I'll say, what will happen if, and then I'll look down to column A. What will happen if you store food safely, Aiden? It'll be good. Well, that is true, Aiden. However, it will also help you from getting sick. So say, won't get sick. Good job, Aiden. So we'll do one more for this train example. Again, we'll ask the prompt, and then we'll look at 3 here. So what will happen, Aiden, when you tell the truth? You won't get in trouble. Again, very true, Aiden. You won't get in trouble if you tell the truth. But more importantly, you'll gain trust from others. All right. So then we're again going to train. So what you'll do is you'll go through all 5 of these about twice. So you'll go through, you'll ask the question, and they'll give you, again, the response from column B that's scripted. And eventually she'll get to where she can recite it very quickly. So then we're going to move on. Once you've done that and repeated the process about twice, we're going to move on to column B. So now we're going to train column B to column C, and it'll be the same format. So you're going to ask the prompt under train B to C here in the information for caregivers. And the prompt is, what value is aligned with? And then you're going to fill in the blank with the stimuli from column B. So for instance, we talked about the one, what will happen if you play with your sister? Well, you'll make her happy. So this time we're going to ask, what value is aligned with making your sister happy, Aiden? Making her happy? Well, happiness is important, but how about family? Say family. So family is the value that we're actually targeting. All the values are in stimuli C. So some different values are family, health, honesty, health, friendship. These are all things that Gemma has indicated as being kind of some of her core values when we've done activities with her. These are all important things to her. So that's kind of the point of this exercise. So we'll go through this again. What value is aligned with not getting sick? Not getting sick. What else could you say? Being healthy. Yes, health is aligned with that. So sometimes you can kind of give her a more gentle prompt. Just say, can you elaborate on that? Or like, tell me more, that sort of thing. So we'll do one more from the B to C column. So what will happen, or what value is aligned with gaining trust from others? Gaining trust. Well, you could say trustworthiness, but the answer to this one is honesty. So honesty is an important value. Say honesty. Good job. Okay, and so the last one we're going to do, if you notice, the last one is test C to A. So this is kind of the point of this exercise, is that Gemma kind of understands that, okay, we're going one direction with this thoughts. You know, if you play with your sister, then you make her happy, and that is aligned with the value of family. But what can you do? Like if we turn that around and I ask, you know, what can you do to, you know, align yourself with the value of family? What are some actions that you can take? So then we kind of take it back around and see if she can connect the dots and make sure she understands what these values really mean and what different actions can be taken. So on this one, you will not give any kind of reinforcement. So notice how whenever I was telling him, no, that's not quite the right answer. Can you try again? You're not going to do any of that. You're not going to tell her good job, like I was telling Aiden a few minutes ago. You're not going to give her any feedback whatsoever. I like to pick a neutral response. Like if he says, I don't know, then I'll say, okay, let's move on. So I don't tell him whether he's right or wrong, just kind of say something non-committal and then move on to the next question. And so what this will show you is if that idea of the value and the action that goes with that value is really kind of falling into an equivalence relation. So when I ask this, again, I'm not going to say anything. So I'm going to take the script from test C to A, and I'll say, what would you do to work towards the value of, and again, we look at our script here, and I'll say, what would you do to work toward the value of family, Aiden? You don't know? Okay. So we just move on. What would you do to work towards the value of health, Aiden? So if she gives you kind of an answer that maybe is not necessarily correct, but it's not exactly wrong either, or more likely with Gemma, what she's going to do is you're going to ask her a question from this category, and you're going to want her to answer a question out of the A category. And what she's going to do is she's probably going to give you an answer out of the B category. And that's not necessarily wrong, but it's not what we're asking for. So if you get a response like that, what I might tell Aiden is, how else might you say that? You just give him a prompt. So you're not telling him, I won't ever tell him if he's right or wrong, but I might make him continue to elaborate on something. And then he might get stuck, he might not know, and we move on. So Again, not a big deal. Once you go through these several times with Gemma, she will be able to kind of coordinate that to where she understands what values equal what actions. But personally, I've seen her get tripped up on the B category. And again, you just want to give that prompt like, okay, that is, you know, maybe that's right, but what else could you say about that? And if you mess up, it's very easy to do on the testing phases. So just shake it off and keep moving along and it'll be okay. The point is that she's learning and that she's able to kind of form these relations between what you're trying to teach her. And also that it has some kind of application in her life at home, you know, with her younger sister and with you guys. Okay, so I'll ask one more out of the C category. So I'll say, follow the script again. I'll say, what would you do to work towards the value of honesty? Good job. So that was actually Aiden's first time doing it. Obviously, you can see he has a little bit of an issue, like kind of grasping the point of this exercise. It's a little bit weird, but he was able to show me that honesty, the actual action of working towards that value, is telling the truth, because he could remember from the first time that I asked. And that's your goal for Gemma. So again, you don't want to give any feedback like that. You just want to tell them okay, or okay, let's move on, or don't say anything at all. And you know, just some general tips for this. Don't worry if she gets frustrated, and just kind of continue to tell her like, hey, you know, you're working hard. That's what's, so if she does get frustrated on any of these answers that she doesn't know the correct answer to, and you can't reinforce for it, just tell her, hey, I'm so glad you're working hard, you're doing great. So you might not tell her, you know, whether she's right or wrong, but you can still praise her for working hard and doing a great job, because that's important too. All right, that's it.